unlimited bandwidth, memory, computing power, networking. Cyberspace just got a lot bigger and friendlier. I can see that in a Madison Avenue ad. There's an intention-driven interface. It would be truly ubiquitous, like Mark Weiser, who used to be here at Xerox PARC. He was dealing with ubiquitous computing. This would be truly ubiquitous. It would have true artificial intelligence. And there would be a new software paradigm where software is self-organizing, it's invisible, it's on request, and it's ubiquitous. So you just say, okay, I want a program that does this. You have the program that does that. You don't have to know what's under the hood. You don't need to know where it came from, where it is. It's just there. There could be, I mean, look, what's happening. That's how that, remember the photograph? Maybe that was the intention of the guy, that it's going to take a picture through the lens cap. It's not actually through the lens cap, but that an image will form as though it were through the lens cap. And it did. He didn't put in geometry or anything. He just put an intention. And then I think software programmers, they're going to have to become intuitive. It's going to be a whole different world where they're intuitive and they have special consciousness skills. They probably meditate. They're humble. It'll be a whole different kind of thing. Java programming won't be necessary. I sort of feel that way because I'm not good as a programmer because, well, I have to learn it every day over again. I forget all the commands. And the user interface, I think, will be truly intuitive, invisible, direct, and both outside us and inside us. In biology, I think we'll get new insights at all levels, from molecular up to cells, to organisms, to ecosystems, and even Gaia, which is probably a Vidic kind of system, to universal panspermia, that's life spreading throughout the universe. I think we may find a new definition of life itself, where we're incorporating not just matter and energy as we do today, but also the Vidic side. Remember the iceberg. And maybe there's a Vidic origin of life. Maybe life actually started in the vid and then somehow found molecules it could work with and encouraged them to get together and worked up that way. I think we're going to find better interspecies communication and interspecies appreciation. It'll be a lot harder to go kill a dolphin, for instance. And then I talked about genomics, and I think it'll go way beyond that. In medicine, I could see new Vidic technologies and devices for diagnosis, treatment, prevention, health assessment, improvement, and maintenance. I can see intention imprinting happening in drugs. I mean, it's already happening in homeopathy. Maybe drugs would work better, have fewer side effects if they were imprinted. And even just water. I know there's some people who imprint homeopathics into water, stabilize it with alcohol, and it works, they say. And we may have better, hospitals may be designed. I don't know if you've ever been in a hospital room that you just walk in and feel horrible to be in that room. And I don't think it's just from the smells. I don't think it's just from the people who are around, but the architecture's wrong. If you built a hotel room or a hospital room right, it'll feel great to be in that room. In mental health, I think we're going to develop better models of consciousness and personality. There'll be faster and better healing of traumas, and we'll have tools for self-engineering our perception and our emotions. There'll be faster integration of multiple personalities. I mean, that's just one application. In education, I think we'll have a better understanding of what learning is. I think there's a lot of Vidic interchange that happens between teacher and student. I think there'll be technologies developed to enhance this process. And maybe we'll even have downloadable knowledge and experience databases that, sort of like the crystals in Superman. You had this crystal and it carried all the knowledge of his home planet. And I have to throw in a little science fiction for you, Dave. And I think evolution, well, there'll be new ways of showing ethics to people. So it's not just a concept, but you're really getting it. You're getting the feeling of what it is to be a good person. In arts and entertainment, I mean, we already have paintings. I don't know if you've noticed the difference between a painting reproduction and a real painting, but if you go to the real painting, like one of Leonardo da Vinci's, just to be in the room with that painting, it has a whole different vibe, a whole different feeling. I think objects really are imprinted with with something. And I think we're going to be able to take that principle and augment emotions and perceptions. Maybe have an emotion track in movies. I think you'll be able to augment charisma. So when the rock star comes out, I mean, he doesn't have to do anything. People will just be blown away. And then, you know, you can have these augmented group experiences. I mean, sorry, I don't have that here today, but where, you know, the whole group will just feel something good. And then maybe, you know, I like Brainstorm. Maybe we'll be able to actually directly record experience and play it back. Okay, in material science, I think we're going to be looking for new materials that act as Vidic transducers. I mean, there's some candidates. We'll find ones that are better for information and intention imprinting, storage, recovery, and new materials for making conditioned spaces, for making rooms that feel good. New material systems for remote sensors and actuators. So you can actually sort of create a robot and then communicate with it through the vid, and it'll do what you want it to do. In nanotechnology, I think as in the biological world, somehow those little molecules are communicating with the vid, if it exists. So it's at the nanoscale where all these sensors, actuators, and transducers are going to be. Right now, nanotechnology, they're dealing with this problem. You've got these little things, they can do stuff, but how are they going to think? How are we going to communicate with them? How are they going to figure out what to do next? How are they going to interact? Well, Vidics could possibly remove that limitation. If there's this infinite intelligence, size is no difference, no matter, it's everywhere, every when, intention-driven, maybe you'll be able to actually coordinate nanotechnology and bring fulfillment to that, bring them, you know, what they've been looking for. You know, the proper control, but yet being benign and not getting out of control. I think there, you know, if, like I was saying, you can sort of ask any question and get a yes or no answer, which may or may not be right, but that you may actually be able to make some sensors that are only just purely Vidic, and they will go through the scan and scan anything in space and time, and then it'll show up on your computer or on your paper or whatever. And then actuation, I think I talked about that, but it'd be like little nanotech devices that might be operating in bulk that you could communicate with, and they would do stuff. So another possibility is vacuum energy. I know there are a lot of people who talked about tapping energy out of the vacuum, getting it out of the 0 point. And so I think if information is somehow involved with that energy, there may be some way to use information or software in the vid to somehow tap into that, control it, and release it for proper use. In the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, I put this in the abstract, that I think there may be a whole world, a whole like huge Vidic internet that's already operating, that these other civilizations have tuned into, and they're just waiting for us to show up. May be true, I don't know. Where there are user groups, free downloads, intergalactic dating, and collaboration, and some of the users might not even have bodies. I mean, like my friends at the University of Arizona, they're sort of doing that right now already. So instead of SETI, maybe we could have TUVI, tuning into Vidic intelligence. Someone else will probably come up with a different word for that. Okay, key technologies. We really need to develop the transducers. These could be antennas, and I actually brought some antennas that I've made that seem to have, that work this way, but I can't prove it. And and crystals, liquid crystals, coatings. You could have cell cultures with electrodes plugged in, biomolecules, maybe even plants that have electrodes hooked up. This is open for exploration. And then more work needs to be done on imprinting matter and energy and conditioning of spaces like temples or boxes that do intention things. We need to develop sort of a linguistics of intention. I mean, English is pretty good for that. Sanskrit, I think, may even be better. And then developing the Vidic sensors and transducers, and then working on the interface. Is it going to be on a PC? Is it going to be in your thoughts? I don't know. Okay, ethics. I have to throw this in. I think that privacy and security may already be built in. For instance, I mean, there seem to be some barriers between me being able to read your private, personal consciousness workspace. Although when people are in love, it's almost like they can read each other's workspace to a certain extent, certain areas, never the core. But we need to protect those things and keep those boundaries. We need to ensure universal access and to avoid abuses of the vid. And that may be built in also. And we will develop a new understanding of how wonderful each human being is, how everyone is a unique treasure with full access to the vid. And we'll develop new appreciation for other life forms, wherever they may be. And life is incredible. Also, I think that unethical actions in both the material and the Vidic worlds will be detectable, measurable, preventable, and correctable. That, for instance, before people do a building project, now they do a environmental study, that sort of thing. Well, you can just say, is this good for the world? Yes, okay, do it. And no, and it can be much more sophisticated than that. But the universe will talk to you and let you know what you ought to do and what you ought not to do. Okay, the conclusions. Number one, materialism is great, but it's limited. Number two, the vid, if it is real, is greater and unlimited. Number three, there's a lot of evidence that, at least to me, seems to support the existence of the vid. Number four, immense benefits could come from the vid. I was just talking about these technologies. Number five, it's okay to think outside the materialism box. I think most human beings throughout history have thought this way. It's only recently that science has divorced itself from it, and that's been good. We've accomplished a lot, but now maybe it's time to open up a little bit more. Number six, I think we've been preparing for the vid for eons. Really, it's built into us to think this way, to act this way, to build these technologies. Number seven, what are we waiting for? So thank you, and thank you very much for listening.